What's up? It's Way Up with Angela Yee, and how exciting, because y'all know I love a good horror movie. Alison, Brie, and Dave Franco are here today. Thank you for joining me, the stars of this movie together.
Thank you for having us.
And you guys are definitely together. No.
Oh, big time.
In every way, yes.
Man, so, you know, just so you guys know, this is a movie that you did not have to direct or produce. You got to act in front of...
We did produce
Oh, you did
it.
produce.
Yes, but we didn't write or direct it.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So how is that, too? Just knowing that, like, someone else can direct and we can just put our acting bag on.
Yeah, basically, so I've directed a couple movies now, which I love, but it's also made me enjoy acting more than ever because... You know, obviously as a director, there's so much on your plate. And so now when I'm acting, I step on set and I'm like, oh, I got one job to do. I'm going to fucking kill this for you.
Yeah.
Okay, hang out in the trailer.
Totally. The last, we've worked, this is our fifth film that we've collaborated on together, but the last two that we worked on, Dave directed. And we co-wrote one of those together. But so similarly, this was us getting to reconnect on screen. And then on top of that, working together on screen way more intensely, way more intimately than we ever have. And I'm not even just talking about the content of the film, but just the fact that we're the co-leads of this movie. There's not many actors in the movie. It truly was the two of us on set all day, every day.
But also the content of the film.
And
Yeah,
the
literally
content of
together.
the film is the most intimate and intense stuff.
We're doing things in this film that we've never done on or off camera.
Yeah.
It got weird.
I hope not.
It got weird. Yeah, exactly.
So for people listening, if they want to know just a quick 2 lines about what the movie is, and then we'll get into it, what would you tell them? This is the premise of it.
Yeah, so it's basically about a codependent couple who gets infected with something that makes it so that when they're apart from each other, they start to feel sick. So they need to be near each other at all times. And then it starts escalating to the point where their bodies start fusing together.
Oh, I feel like a lot of people, there's one scene with the skin. And you know how you tell your partner, like, I just want to be in your skin. Like, you feel like you can't get close enough
Yes.
to a person. And you guys definitely showed what it could be like.
We went there.
I don't feel like in our regular relationship, we've never said that to each other.
No, but we are very
We're romantic.
cozy.
Yeah. We're cozy, but I've never been like, I gotta get under that skin.
I got to get in your
It wasn't
skin.
until I read this script that I thought, I guess I do.
I guess I do want to be closer.
But yeah, there were days where like we were literally attached to each other with a prosthetic for 10 hours. And so we could not leave each other's side. And so we were going to the bathroom together. And we've
number
seen...
one and
Number
number 2.
one,
No,
okay, number
only
one.
number one.
I think for all relationships to survive,
No coffee that day.
No number twos around each
You
other.
think so?
As a rule, no number twos.
I feel like men are real, more comfortable with that.
Oh yeah, men just don't even want to know that women go.
They don't
number
know,
two.
yeah, but they will have the door open, not care, not courtesy flush.
I don't like that. I think to keep the romance alive, no number twos in front of each other. We redesigned our whole bathroom so that the toilet is in its own room.
That's true.
It has a sliding door.
Because
For
I don't
that-
want to, if I have to shower, I don't want to.
Exactly. I need to do my stuff in the bathroom, and I don't want to know about your
The
stuff.
only boundary we put up in our relationship.
That's the only one.
Now, I want to talk about the characters that you guys play in this, Tim and Millie. And so here's one thing I noticed that was so interesting to me. It kind of goes against the traditional norms, the way that you guys are together. And I have to give this away. I'm sorry, but there's a proposal.
Yeah.
And it's very early on. It's not, but I just can't imagine. I used to always feel like I was very pro a woman doing anything.
Sure.
But, and oh yeah, if a woman proposes, no problem. But then it
Sure.
felt awful. So
Yeah, I agree. It's so funny that you say, I definitely am I support people, whatever they want to do. If it's right in your relationship, that's great. Dave proposed to me in real life. I definitely would not have proposed
You wouldn't.
to Dave. Historically, Miranda proposed to Steve on
Right.
Sex and the City, and I liked that. But in this movie, it does not go well.
it does. But I used to think that from the point of view as a woman, no problem. But I never thought about how a man would feel.
Sure.
In that
I guess it
situation.
just depends relationship to relationship. I'm sure in some ways, certainly in this movie.
Yeah, this is a
it's-
very fractured relationship.
Well,
Yeah.
it's less, I think, about the gender norms and more about you got to be on the same page with your partner. I would say it's the same, even if a man's proposing to a woman. you got to be pretty certain she's going to say yes if
Right.
you're going to pop the question. I think you should be, but
Especially if you're going to propose in front of all your
yeah,
friends.
Yeah.
it's a big swing.
Yeah.
But you know, if it would have been even in a fractured relationship, if he would have proposed to her, I wouldn't
She would
have
have said yes.
It wouldn't have been like that. And I also think that it also was fractured because of other people's views
Definitely.
of the relationship.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
these characters, their friends are not that supportive of their relationship, but I feel like that's less about them being bad friends, and it's more like maybe this relationship is not great. Like where we meet the couple in the movie, the relationship is not in a great
I
place.
feel like we've all been there where you have a friend who's with someone who maybe they shouldn't be with,
Mm-hmm.
but you're like, what do I say? If I tell them that to break up with this person and they end up getting married, they'll
Now
always
I'm the
have
one.
my
That
words in the back of their
you
head.
can never overcome that. Yeah.
Listen, I've had to be like, but you know, here's my rule. I'm gonna tell you how I feel one time because I would feel bad if I didn't say anything, and then
Yeah.
whatever you do, I support it.
Okay, that's
you know,
nice. That's
I
nice.
agree, and you're right. Once they up the ante, like if when they've just started dating, you got to get it in quick and go like, I don't know about this person. And once they move in together, get married, then you kind of go, okay, you're doing your thing, and I support you. You know,
But I think also because it felt like at first their relationship was good.
you know. It's interesting. I think
think-
at one time they had a good relationship.
Yeah, I think it's like smoke and mirrors a little bit. I think they're trying to put on a good face for their friends and for each other. I think it's like this couple just has a lack of communication. They haven't really told each other how they've felt in a very long time, and so it's been building and building, and then later in the movie it explodes.
This is where their codependency comes into play, because certainly there's this feeling that they don't want to break up. They really want to stay together, but you're looking at them from the outside kind of being like, yeah, they're not on the same page with the proposal, and they're they just don't seem super happy,
And it's
honestly.
these couples who have been together for over a decade, and it's like, are they staying together because it's comfortable? Have they become complacent, or are they still actually in love? And like this, or I don't know. It's
They're
like,
used to
Yeah.
each other.
Yes.
Well,
It's
this
kind of
is
like
sort of what my character, it's like we're meeting her right as she's starting to have that analysis, right? She's kind of like, maybe we are just comfortable and we're too scared to leave. I think she feels like if she leaves the relationship, will she cease to exist? Like they're so intertwined.
she doesn't know who she is without him.
Yeah.
And
I want to ask, just in all objectively, do you think that she was too good for him? Because I hate to say
we're
it.
talking about the characters,
Yeah, the
right?
characters.
Okay.
The characters.
Dude, I just want to ask because while I'm watching it, even like I watched it with my boyfriend. There's one part, and this is not a giveaway because there's a cave that's involved.
Sure.
They fought. He like pulled her in. I mean, he
He's
was
bringing her
horrified by
down.
that part.
He is bringing her down.
Literally, like he could have just, she could have went and got help. She goes to try to help him, and you like pulled her into.
You know, I honestly had never thought about that exact moment in the movie being such a clear metaphor
He pulled
for
her
their
down.
relationship.
Right,
But he
right.
is truly pulling her down. She's always trying to help him, and he's pulling her down. I do think.
I think here's a
I
nice
do
way to
think-
say it. Here's a nice way to say it. I think my character has a lot more to overcome.
Okay.
He's learning a lot
There you go.
more
That's
about himself.
nice.
He's learning to become less selfish.
Yes.
Yes. So
And
I think definitely at the beginning she is way too good for him, and maybe she is by the end, but it's like less of a discrepancy there.
I do think at the start of the movie that it is sad because we're watching this character Millie like just start to come out of her shell, to like take a step away from the codependence, even just by taking this job, right? She's like, you know what, I'm gonna do something for me and we're gonna move. I've done a lot for you, supporting you as a musician, but we're gonna move. And when you see my character in these early scenes with this other character, right, this teacher at school, we kind of have a great
It's a vibe.
chemistry. Yeah, and you're sort of
It's a
like,
whole vibe.
oh, what would happen maybe if she were with someone who were like more satisfied in their life? You kind of see a buoyancy to her that it again just highlights how in this relationship they've been really bogged down for a long time. Like they don't have a great sexual relationship. They're just really disconnected. But I think a cool trick of the movie is that over the course of like these insane things that they're dealing with, they do kind of learn to support each other.
Yeah, they bond over it.
They
Literally.
bond. Yeah.
One of your friends in the movie puts it into perspective and calls him like a 35-year-old failed musician in a way. That's harsh.
That's boring. She
Yeah.
says that's boring.
Yeah, yeah.
It is.
It is, yeah. Sure.
I mean, this is a lot. This part of it is based on our writer-director, Michael Shanks.
Right.
This was like him doing some cathartic work because he used to want to be a musician. And even as like a filmmaker, he was like, he's been with his partner over 16 years.
and that's all they've known from childhood is each other.
Exactly.
Yes.
And I think he really wrote this as this way of saying, like, I hope I'm not turning into that guy that everyone's going, ugh, he's still trying to make movies. He should move on. Like, we all know the person who's
he
with
wrote
that guy.
kind of the darkest version of himself and what he hoped people didn't say about him, but he put that all into this character.
What advice would you give somebody? Let's just say, hypothetically, let's say a couple is, because I know people are asking y'all relationship questions and watching as you guys are able to work together, maneuver together. It looks like you're having a really good time also. If somebody were to tell you, okay, I've been with this person since childhood and I don't know anything else, and we're thinking about getting married, should I, before we do that, experiment a little? What are your thoughts on that?
Experiment a little. This is a dangerous game.
This is a case-to-case thing, but I do believe that, like, gosh, even if you are with someone that you ultimately should be with, if you have nothing to compare it to, you might not know how good you actually have it. And so I do think it is healthy to kind of date around when you're younger and just know what's out there and have something to compare it to.
I agree. I feel like I got a lot of wildness out of my system in my 20s. And that's so nice because now in our relationship, I'm never wondering, why didn't I try this or that? You know, I certainly know couples who got divorced for that same reason. They got together when they were in college or something like that. And, you know, they were just so monogamous and not, I don't know, they didn't try a lot of things. And then within the marriage, one of them started to step out.
I love Dave's face when you said wild things. He was like,
He's heard all this story.
There's literally
I
nothing
wonder
she
who was
can
wilder between the two of you. When
Who
you
do
were,
you think was wilder,
I feel
honey?
like
between
Dave.
the two of us.
You're incorrect on that one. I'm generally much more shy than her.
Dave's a little shy boy.
But I think she brings out a good side of me, and I think I bring out a good side of her. It's a nice balance.
Agree.
I've seen, Alison, in an interview, you said that you previously had never really thought about marriage. It wasn't like on your bucket list of,
That's
you know
true.
how they say when you're young, people assume that women are like planning their wedding. And
Yes. I feel like we were just talking about this
Yeah.
because you were like, why did it change with me?
I wasn't fishing for a compliment. I just remember it came up
What
the
was
other
so great
day.
about me?
I remember it coming up, and I was like, "Oh yeah, why did you not want to get married?"
I know. You know, I think that I don't know. It truly was not a priority for me. I think I in some respects it has to do with my career and loving acting. Even before I thought of the word career, like as a kid, I loved performing. I loved acting. I would be sooner acting out like my Oscar acceptance speech than I would my wedding or like having a baby. I just think.
And why did it change
I had
with
this
me?
artistic drive.
Yeah, what was so special that Dave managed to
You know,
make you feel like, I want a ring?
it's the most annoying answer that when people are like, when it happens, you just know. It was that, like being struck by lightning. Like truly, I met Dave and I just knew it like hit me like a ton of bricks. I remember it because so clearly I had been so opposed to marriage, and that certainly had been a point of contention in other relationships. And like the pull, the way that I was like leaving my phone out for Dave to discover like pictures of engagement rings. It was so unlike me and it was so real. I was like, I want to be married to this. I gotta be with him. I don't know. I think that's true love. I think it's just
I think
love.
that's great.
Yeah.
What did you used to think about marriage? Was that something that was on your aspirational
I always
list?
thought I would get married, but it wasn't this thing in my head where I thought about some giant lavish wedding. And the truth is, we had a very intimate ceremony. We did it in our backyard with just our family, and
Even just our immediate family, no cousins or uncles. It was truly 12 people.
But then we rented out Pizzeria Mozza in LA and had a pizza party for 60 of our closest friends, which also felt very us. But like we were like, okay, we're both not wedding people, but if we're going to do it, let's just do it our way.
When Alison was leaving those pictures, had you already known that at some point this was going to happen?
Yeah, I think I knew pretty early on. And I think it was more about, you get to a point where I'm like, okay, I know this is the person I want to spend the rest of my life with, but I also want like the proposal to be right and for that to kind of come at the right time. And of course, then I fumbled the proposal pretty badly.
No, you didn't fumble it. I
What
had fun.
happened?
You didn't fumble it.
Well, the shortest version of it is just to set it up. Basically, we met at Mardi Gras in New Orleans, as people do.
Throw some beads.
Exactly, pretty much.
And she had this like silver Mardi Gras mask on her head the whole weekend, and I would try to take it from her, and it was like this flirty back and forth.
At the end of the weekend, I wrote my phone number on it and I hid it in his bag.
Oh, that's
And so
cute.
what she didn't know is I kept it. And so when I proposed like 3.5 years later,
We're in Big Sur. We're there for Dave's birthday weekend. So, like, I just wasn't expecting it at all.
so
I don't know that he's saved this mask all this time. I have no idea.
And I don't have the ring yet because I knew she wanted to pick out the ring with me, but I was like, I have the mask. This will be the romantic thing that I held on to.
I'm honestly glad, by the way, after leaving out all those photos, like when it came time, he was like, and it was one like this, right? I was like, no,
wrong
thank
one.
God. But anyway, but in the moment.
So we're in Big Sur. We're looking out on this beautiful view. She turns around. I'm on one knee. I'm wearing the mask, and she can't place the mask.
Just imagine. He's like, honey, come out here to
what are you
take a
doing?
photo.
So, yeah.
Literally. I come out to take a picture, turn around. He's in a silver Zorro mask. He bought this placeholder ring. It was in this giant pink box with a paper napkin, like from a
I thought it was a cool
McDonald's,
antique ring.
and this little rock, this old weird ring.
So-
and he's just, will you marry me? And I just start laughing.
Like, what's going on here?
so-
He said, are you
That's
being
right.
serious?
So-
I basically just go, are you being serious?
The whole proposal is basically me explaining why it was so sweet that I kept the mask.
He was like, what is this thing?
If
Like,
I pulled the romance. I go, are you being serious? He said, yes, I kept this mask for all these years because I knew you were the one. I go, wait, but are you being serious? He goes, yes, because I love you and blah, blah. Finally, he goes, yes, and I'm going to have Irene Newerth make you a custom wedding ring. And I go, yes.
yeah, fine. That's what I wanted.
Yeah, I was like, I'm mostly worried. What is this rock in this box?
Do you guys joke around with each other a lot, like prank each other, that you didn't take it seriously when he had the mask on? Like, was it?
I mean, I don't know if we prank each other, but we laugh a
Well,
lot.
I will say that Dave has this all on video because he was secretly videoing it on his phone, and he will not let me own this video.
It's
Like,
only on my phone because I know she will send this to everyone in her life, and I'm very
I would
embarrassed
like
by
to
it.
poke
Send
fun
it to
at him all
us.
the
We would love
time.
to post that.
But I
Dave
let
will
her
let
I let her
anyone.
watch it on my phone once a year on our anniversary.
And to be totally fair, by the third Are You Serious, I was like crying and happy and
And
excited. Turned romantic.
To be totally fair, will you admit that it was a sweet gesture that I kept
It
this
was
mask from day
incredibly
one?
sweet.
That
It was
is.
incredibly
What made
sweet.
you decide to keep that? So that was something that you knew how special.
Yeah, you moved house to house with that discussion. We
just-
still have it.
That's
I-
disgusting.
we obviously had a very strong connection, and I just felt like, okay, this is going to be something that I want and that we can look back on.
Oh, this is amazing. This is the real love story right here. But what's the most amount of time you would say that you guys have spent together? Like, I mean, we know the pandemic happened, and a lot of people were in cases where it went well. It could
Sure.
have been like an amazing experience to be able to just be.
Yeah, I mean, the pandemic honestly was kind of a nice, I mean, like for everybody, right? It was an interesting test. We ended up writing a movie together during the pandemic. We wrote our film, Somebody I Used to Know. It's on
Yes.
Amazon. But that was an interesting way to use the time. And we certainly I certainly tried to set boundaries during the pandemic in terms of being like, we can write from noon to 5, then I'm going to make dinner. We got to kind of turn off our work brains and be able to hang out.
But in
and-
terms of just spending time
Yeah.
together, I think we realized we're like, oh, if the world ends, we're
We're-
okay if it's just
Just
the
the
two of us.
yeah.
Yeah, we're
and
pretty
also
good at it.
that she's a good cook and I'm not, and she's literally keeping me
That's
alive
right.
The
because of
opposite
it.
in the movie.
That's right. It is
That's what I
the
was saying.
opposite.
It is definitely like, because when I think about this movie, like I was saying, it kind of feels like the traditional, masculine role is
sure.
held
Right.
by Millie.
She's the breadwinner.
She's the breadwinner out working. He's home cooking.
She
He
can
can't-
drive.
He can't drive.
Now listen, that part really was annoying to me because honestly, imagine you're in the middle of nowhere. You can't go anywhere unless
Yeah.
you're driving, and he literally is trapped unless you
Yeah.
drop him off at the train station.
No,
Think
again, this
about
is
it.
based on our director's real life.
That's true.
That's
In Melbourne.
so wild.
just recently got his driver's license.
Because Melbourne is a city like New York
Okay.
where you can get by,
Right.
walking, taking public transportation. Like in Los Angeles, this would never fly.
My mom, we're from New York, and she couldn't drive until my parents moved to New Jersey. And
necessity.
I was literally in 10th grade, and my mom had to learn, and she drives. To this day, she really cannot drive. Like, she
wow.
can drive on a residential street slowly. She will not get on the highway. She will not drive. I literally don't beep at people because I feel like that could be my mom.
Oh, that's
driving
is
like
so
30 miles an
interesting.
hour on the highway.
Totally. And I beep less at people having 3 young nephews. I feel like once my sister started having kids, I was like, they might have a baby in the car.
You never know.
Gotta let them drive slowly.
Was there anything creepy that happened? A lot of times when people are filming horror movies and you guys were literally like in the forest doing things I would never do, like following a path. There's certain things when you watch a movie, you're like, oh my God, come on now. Like, why would they do that?
Yeah, I mean,
Did anything freaky? Because I always hear when people film horror movies, every now and then there's like
They get a little haunted.
something supernatural happens for real.
Did we get haunted?
no, we didn't get haunted. But like the first thing that comes to mind is, we shot a lot out in the forest, and like this was in Australia, and before our first time out there, people were like, "Oh, this place is like notorious for ticks." And then you cut to us like
Ticks.
truly rolling around on the ground.
But and when he says before, it was truly like we get out into the woods. We're seconds away from filming, shooting. They're turning on fake rain machines, and exactly, we're about to just be lying on the ground, falling into a hole, and they go, "Oh, by the way, look out for ticks." We were like,
it's happening. I mean, what do you want me
prefer
to
a little bit more of a heads up so I could wear taller socks. But we worked out. The thing I was scared of was spiders, but we actually didn't end up encountering. Americans get very intimidated, or there's all
By
this
the
lore
spiders and
about
snakes in
Australia.
Australia, yeah.
Everything in Australia will kill you. But for the most part, we're shooting in a metropolitan city.
Right.
It's not like there were snakes coming down the street, although there was one time when I was shooting Apples Never Fall, also in Australia.
We went out on a hike
We went out on a hike.
deep in the woods.
Oh my gosh. See, this is
And on our way,
It was on the drive home.
Yes.
We're on the highway and all these cars are stopped. And we look up and we're like, what's going on with this traffic? And across the entire
there
road,
was this like 20
a
foot
giant
thick
snake.
yellow
I
snake.
couldn't
It was
do it.
halfway across
longer
the
than the
road.
length of the road. I thought it was some sort of
That's
pipe
crazy.
or hose.
If we would have saw that on the way
And then
into
the
the hike,
tail?
we would not have
you
taken
would not have.
that
I
hike.
would never. You better count your blessings that.
That was heebie-jeebies territory.
Now, another thing in the movie that I feel like I wanted to know more about was the trauma that
Oh, sure.
that your character has, that Tim's character has. We see that plays out a lot in how like he has medication.
Yeah.
I would say this is the one place where we should cut Tim some slack because we're talking about how he's such a terrible partner.
Right.
But the truth is, we're meeting
He's
him
been through a lot.
in
Yeah,
a really unique moment.
Without giving too much away, yes, he's having trauma based on something that happened to his parents, and kind of his parents having the most extreme codependent relationship where when one of them dies, the other one literally can't function when that partner died. And so that's kind of what's really going on internally for this character and making it so, why he's so terrified to commit to his partner. Because he's like, oh my God, am I going to end up like my parents where like if anything happens to my partner, I become catatonic. I don't know how to live anymore.
And also, in a way, it's like this thing happened where he sort of lost both his parents in one fell swoop, so that would just, it's so sad.
Yeah, that is. And you guys are sharing stories in the movie that maybe you've never heard before. I want to ask you this. I always feel like the best relationships are two whole people that can function, very well outside of each other and then come together. But I've heard people talk about like dependency and how important that is in a relationship where you're really like dependent on the other person. And there's also the balance of making somebody feel needed. They are needed, but also letting them know that. Because sometimes I feel like we can tend to try to prove that we can do things.
Yeah. I think it's a nice balance, but I do
Yeah.
agree with what you first said, that it's really nice to find someone who is independent, who isn't fully leaning on you for everything. And like, I don't know, I guess I'm just speaking for myself. Like, I loved when we met, and that she was, you know, strong and just, you know, really good at what she did, and she was standing on her own 2 feet. That excited me. I just was like,
Were you familiar with her work before you guys?
of course.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, you speak
Same.
now.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, you asked before, like, what's the most amount of time that we've spent together, but then I think about what's the longest that we've spent apart, which was when I was shooting a show actually down in Australia, also on the Gold Coast. And I mean, that whole shoot was like 5 months. Dave got to come down and visit one time because
Wow.
of his work schedule, and he was shooting something
crazy.
simultaneously.
Yeah.
So I think we went 3.5 months apart, and then spent like 10 days together, and then another. So that, I think that was the longest. And it's hard.
It
It's
sucks.
really hard. But also, it is important, to your point, that we can stand on our own 2 feet, have our own independence. We are good. Because we love what we do, we love doing it together, but we also love doing it apart and develop great relationships with the other people that we work with.
Yeah, a lot of people with their partner couldn't imagine being with them day in and day out. You know,
It is nice to miss each other.
Yeah.
And then to kind of have that fun reunion.
Yeah.
do you feel, are there more, I'm sure there has got to be more coming together in the future with you guys.
We hope
Because
so.
that has to
We're
be really,
always
that
thinking
has
about
to
it.
be really amazing. Like, you both are great at what you do, and then to be able to be great at what you do together as a team, but then everybody around you talks about how pleasant you guys are, because I mean, it's just an ideal situation, it feels like.
And I think
it's
part of
the
the reason
best.
we first started doing it was to spend time together, and then we realized quickly that, like, oh, we work really well together, and this is the most fun times we ever have on set, and it's for many reasons. Like, creatively, she's so good at what she does, and so she makes my job easy in that way, where it's just really easy to play off of her. And then also just to have that emotional support where, like, what we do can be very vulnerable. We can really put ourselves out on a limb, you know, as we show in this movie. We are really taking huge swings, and to be able to kind of turn to each other at the end of the day and just keep each other from spinning out mentally and just kind of grounding each other, it's invaluable.
Working with Dave is such a safe space. Nobody cares about their projects more than Dave. I've never worked with someone who from start to finish is so invested, is so passionate. And Dave has great taste also. I just trust him. You know what I mean? We work the same way. I think that's really helpful. But just knowing, like, when I work on something with Dave, I just know I'm going to love it. I'm going to be proud of the work that we've done because his standards are so high. And I also just think as we get older, I mean, this is about working together because Dave is my favorite person in the world and my favorite person to work with, but also other friends. I think more and more we're just always like, can't we just work with the people that we like and we
Yes.
know that we like to work with them? There's so many unknowns in this business. We're always just trying to work with the same group of people if we can.
I think more than ever, it really has become a lot about, like, okay, we should enjoy the process. Like, yes, we want to make things that are great, but, like, I'd rather not work with an asshole, even if they are the most talented person in the world. I don't have the time and energy for that anymore.
And you get to work with your family too, clearly, like to have a
Yeah.
talented family.
I've been so lucky to work with family and friends for so many years now, and I truly think that's when I do my best work, because I feel comfortable with them, and I'm like, yes, let's go nuts. Let's see what happens.
The Studio. I'm thinking about Dave's recent Emmy nomination for his
Period.
role on The Studio.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Where you're working with Seth Rogen,
Yeah,
who
I've known
you've
Seth and
for
those guys
years.
for almost 20 years.
It's nice to be in a position where you can be around the people that you want to work with instead
Yeah.
of having to, like, you know. Have you ever had to, like, work on set and not really liked, not that you have to name it, but have you ever been
It
in
happens,
Yeah.
but it is more rare than you think.
Yeah, it is. But there are certain people. I feel like the true nightmare stories are few and far between.
Yeah.
But more often, it's people maybe that you just don't connect with, which is funny when we're comparing. We'll be like, you know, I like them. Overall, the experience was good, but they're just not my people. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, you feel that with friends too, right? Sometimes, like, you have your friends you've been friends with a long time. Sometimes you meet a new person, you click immediately and become good friends. And then they try to introduce you to a friend and you're like,
That's
We're
not
just
really.
not,
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
I can be cordial and
They're
be around
fine.
you, but that's not my person.
It's not exactly.
You know, you in Promising Young Woman, the role that you played on that was.
Ooh.
I just went, yeah.
Yikes.
I watched that movie a couple of times.
Oh,
I thought,
nice.
I thought it was quite interesting. But your character, but it is something. What was her name? Maddie? Was it?
Yeah, Madison. Yeah.
Madison.
Do you know in the original script her name was Alison?
Oh,
But
you were like,
once,
no.
Well,
You're
it
like,
wasn't
this
even
ain't
me.
me.
I was
I
like,
promise.
oh, yeah. The Emerald, the director, was like, I think I'm going to change the name so people don't conflate
It's like really
the
you.
character
It's a
with
true
you.
story. No.
Yeah, I was like, thank you.
But your character gives this whole. You have a sit down, and you
Yeah.
basically blame. If you
Victim
tell it.
blaming.
Yeah, victim blaming.
You know, that was one of the most interesting scripts I've ever read prior to reading Together. But Emerald Fennell's script, and you read it too, we both were like, wow, this is so creative, the way that she's examining this situation and kind of, the conversation around sexual assault and things like that. And it is important in a story like that. It's interesting how she did such a good job of sort of, it's a weird way to say it, but like lightening it. Like it's kind of a fun movie to watch.
Yeah.
Because it's a bit
About
of a
a heavy topic,
revenge
but it's
thriller, but it's about a heavy topic. But it is important to show all sides of that type of story. So my character really was representative of the women who are victim blamers, and a lot of the time, that might even be because they themselves have experienced trauma and it's hard for them to wrap their head around it. So like there were certain ways, like with any character that I play, I want to figure them out and learn how to empathize with them and kind of see like, oh, this is her way of kind of blocking out the things that she has experienced. That doesn't make it right, and it's not okay. But
it really does happen. People really are
absolutely.
like, oh, well, she got drunk, so it's her fault. Like if
She
you
was
know
wearing
if you're
that
drinking
dress.
with somebody,
Yes, it's a terrible side of it, but it was important to show for sure.
So what was the hardest part of Together to make? Like what scene? Was it the one where you guys were stuck together, or did you love
That
that?
was a tricky day on set.
I think the physicality in general, like we really threw our bodies around in ways that we've never moved before. I was sore in places I've never been sore before, and it was pretty much every single day. And so like I think about, and I say this because it's in the trailer for a moment, but like there's a shower scene where I am fully nude. My character is unconscious, and I'm
soaking wet.
I'm flinging my limp body against these porcelain walls, and I can't brace myself because I'm unconscious, and that hurts.
Wow, I didn't even think about how much that must. We're just watching it and seeing it.
Dave was covered in bruises by the end of the shoot. We actually have like a collage because I would photograph
Of all
them
my
all.
injuries.
Yeah, we have a collage of all his bruises.
But we every single day we were kind of looking around at each other like it feels like we're getting away with something, like we're really pushing the boundaries and making something that hopefully people have never seen before. And so our excitement just about the footage kind of superseded the pain that we were feeling.
The physical side was that double-edged sword where like it was exhausting, but it was also exhilarating.
Yes.
We liked to do it, and there was an aspect to certain scenes in this where like you couldn't even really do it in rehearsal. It was kind of just like action. We had to go full force, full energy. So it was fun just to see what Dave was going to do, see what was going to come out of my weird brain.
But there's a scene where not doing anything too elaborate, but I'm like climbing out of the cave, and it's this very thin rope. And I did the first take, and I climbed up as far as I could, and I came down, and I was like, okay, my hands are starting to bleed a little bit, but I got really high up there, and I think it's going to look good for the shot. And then the director came over, and he was like, Dave, I'm sorry, one of the crew members' shadows got in the shot.
No!
And so I took a moment, I was like, okay, let's go again. And so I did it again, and this time my hands were gushing blood.
Shredded.
And for the next week, I had bandages all over my palms, and you don't realize how much you use your hands until you
You're like, I can't
use your
them.
hands.
Yeah. No, and you shot this in 21 days, right?
Yeah, it was.
That's intense.
Fast
It was
and
very
furious.
intense.
Yeah.
But it's also you got in and out.
That's
It's
true.
true.
It was a sprint where if this was, drawn out over 2 or 3 months, I don't know if we would have survived.
I don't think we would not have been able to maintain that level. It's true. I think we would have, we had a lot of different stunt doubles working on the set. I had this great contortionist who does some of the freaky stuff that my character, gets into those positions. But often we were asking the stunt doubles to step aside so we could just jump in and do it ourselves. I think if this were like a 3 to 4 month shoot, we would have been like, where's the stunt double?
We need some help. I can't.
Yeah.
My hands are bleeding, falling apart.
Yeah.
Well, you talked about boundaries earlier, too, when it comes to working together and wanting to miss each other. There are people listening who, whatever work they do, they are working with their significant other. When it comes to establishing boundaries, what are some of the boundaries that you guys have?
Well, I mean, when we were shooting this movie, we didn't really have great boundaries.
No.
Again, because it was such a short schedule, so
Yeah.
full on. We were like, let's just debrief. When we are writing together, I do try to set sort of working hours. Dave doesn't always adhere to my schedule
It's
around
rare
those
that I get
boundaries.
very excited about an idea to the point where I want to write a whole script about it. And so when I lock into an idea, I can't stop. You give me a task and I need to keep going until it's done.
But like anything in a relationship, everything comes back to communication, right? Because I can think of a moment even recently when you were working on your latest script that I wasn't even writing with you. And I felt like, there was just a moment where maybe I had to vocalize and sort of be like, I love you. I love this idea. We need to also take breaks where we talk about things that are not work and just remind each other of that. And of course, Dave is so receptive. We both, I think, are very open, and honest with each other, and also are never trying to push the other person's boundaries past what they want. It's nice just we both get excited and passionate about things. And then you need to kind of talk openly and be like, okay, I need a break, and then respect that boundary then.
Who was the one that started watching Love Island and made the other person watch?
Me.
Okay.
I would say that's probably the truth of any reality
general.
TV that he's watched. Yeah.
What else do you watch? Like 90 Day Fiance or any?
No, lately
She
I've
watches
been
the
watching
Kardashians.
I love the Kardashians. And I love lately I've been watching The Secret Lives of Mormon Housewives.
Okay. You watch that too then? Okay.
Dave doesn't really watch that with me, but he doesn't try to watch it with me. We sort of
can't help.
inadvertently get sucked in. Yeah, because it's just on in the house. Yeah.
Well, listen, you guys, I appreciate y'all for coming through and kind of like, I liked this conversation because I could feel the energy. I feel like just talking to y'all and then watching the movie is going to be, for everybody that's listening, they haven't had a chance to see it. I saw the screener, but you got to go to the theaters and watch it.
Yeah.
It's in theaters actually now, so people can check it out.
It really is a great time.
And I love horror movies.
Yes. It's a great time on the big screen, surrounded by strangers, where every screening we've gone to, people are vocal, they're screaming, they're laughing, they're grabbing the person next to them.
It's fun to see horror in the theater, and especially this movie was really made to be watched like with a big audience.
I saw you guys were also doing a contest.
Oh yeah.
Can we talk about that?
If people propose at a movie theater and they have to tag Together Contest, I think it's hashtag Together Contest, Neon, you could win the chance for Neon to pay for their wedding in Vegas.
Wow, a wedding in Vegas?
Hey.
We could do whatever we want at this wedding. No budget. No. You're like, I didn't say all that.
I didn't say all that. You got to read the fine print. It's on Instagram.
That's amazing.
I was gonna ask you, watching this with your partner, what was that like? And did you guys have different kind of takes on it?
Well, okay, I'll say, because he thinks I'm very like pro woman all the time. And I am.
Why not? Yeah.
Because I was like, I was getting annoyed. I'm not going to lie. And I did have some empathy.
Sure.
Knowing that your character, Tim, had some trauma. But I was also annoyed at the fact that, like, I felt like Millie was very nice and like attempting to make things work and patient with his character. And there were certain things that he did that I was just like irritated by.
That's understandable.
You know what I mean?
Definitely.
Yeah.
And I wonder if, I got to ask him what his thoughts were. He was annoyed, though, that you dragged her into the cave. That bothered him so much. He
It
was
wasn't
like,
intentional. I was trying to pull myself up.
he was like, bro,
and,
come on, you pulled her into the cave. I was like, well, she was trying to help him. I was like, I would have left. I was like, just so you know, I'd have left you down there and got help. There's no reason for both of us to be in this cave.
That's true.
What's been amazing, though, is kind of the different reactions to the movie.
He also didn't like that same night you didn't like get out right away because he felt like you could have like.
There was a story storm going on, though. We
spend
were
the night
lost in the
in
storm.
that dank cave.
I'm not spending the night in the cave. I'm sorry. If I said,
you.
listen, if we fall in a cave and you're not trying your hardest to get out of there ASAP, when we get
breaking
out of
up.
here, it's over. Yeah.
What I was gonna say though is it's been amazing seeing the different reactions where like you talk to some people who are single and they watch the movie and they're like, I am glad I'm single.
Oh,
Yeah.
And then you talk to couples and like there was one couple we talked to who was in a fight all week and then they saw the movie and it helped them make up. And so everyone's taking a little something
Everyone's
different.
gonna have a different
And
reaction.
then there's people that want to be in a relationship and the other person doesn't, and they're like, I'm going to get attached to you forever.
Sure.
And you won't be able to
Sure.
leave me.
2 people came up to us at the premiere after party, and one of them goes, oh my God, I was sobbing at the end of the movie. I said, why? And she said, because I want a relationship like that. And the man next to her said, I thought it was horrifying.
That's so funny. You're right. Everybody's going to have a different point of view when it
Depending on
comes
how
to that.
you feel about relationships and monogamy, it's like really going to reflect it back to you.
Because sometimes when you're like cuddled up, you're like, I can't get any closer than I am right
Yes.
now. But yes, you can. if
Maybe
you
the
watch-
person with you is like, get off me.
I can't sleep with you on me like that. But again, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. A great movie I saw already. Some of the reviews have been rolling in. It feels very positive. So this must feel good. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it.
You know, and I know
it's
separately,
exciting.
individually, you have amazing projects that you're working on writing, but this is, you know, it's just nice to see y'all together,
Thank
working
you so
together
much.
in a great horror movie.
was
Thank
fun.
you.